Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Weekend has been rather quiet, even though there has been a very slight uptrend. We can pay attention to this descending trend line here. That is interesting because this descending trend line is now reached. It started at this end of August highs. We want to take a look at a few things here. I think most of the things are said, but we want to take a look again at the short-term bullish, short-term bearish wave count, as well as the RSI on the daily. I don't do that every day, so I just want to show you a few things there. But overall, what we need to understand, we're still in the same range. Bitcoin is putting in higher lows, lower highs. This could also turn into a large Elliott Wave triangle. What I don't like about this look of an Elliott Wave triangle is that it looks to me as if this move down is a 5-wave move, right? It's not the most beautiful one, but it is a 5-wave move. You can always count it probably as a WXY, but to me it looks more like a 5-wave move, and therefore I've labeled it primarily in the wave 1 of this downward impulse, basically, in this yellow wave count. This is still the primary scenario. Someone in the previous video, so someone wrote in the comments in the last video, and I think you missed that because you said the move up is simply an ABC and the move down is 5 waves and the move up is ABC. So that's exactly what I have. So maybe you missed it or misunderstood, but we have of this high in my primary scenario 5 waves down and then 3 waves up. Very simple. It's a 1-2 setup. And then here as well, we had a 5-wave move down in a so-called, in a sub-wave 1, you could say, in a smaller degree, wave 1. That this move up is though quite messy. You can count that as a WXY, potentially even ABC. What exactly it is, it's not so important, but it looks certainly not impulsive. So it looks like a 3-wave move. And therefore I've counted that in the yellow wave count as another 1-2 setup. So I think that's exactly what you meant. So maybe you just missed that. However, obviously it's not really coming down in the yellow wave count. The yellow wave count is short-term bearish because so this would result in a move to the downside, in a third wave, basically a third of a third wave breakdown next. But we can see the buying pressure and we can see a bullish daily RSI, which I've called out, I think already or early this week in Telegram and Discord for channel members, highlighted that the daily RSI looks quite bullish. Now, again, the RSI can really only confirm and not determine wave counts. Price action is always key because the RSI is always lagging, but there are some indicators that can be quite useful. We want to take a look at that. Some signals on the RSI, they can be quite useful. But overall, situation hasn't changed. So the yellow wave count is the short-term bearish one, and we really need to take out here this previous swing low at 25,800 next. No, 26,000 it is. That needs to be taken out. And then, of course, here the last swing low at 24,920 to really follow through in a third wave breakdown. We see that some very tricky market at the moment. We see that some coins are trying to break out to the upside. For example, Veracity. What else do we have? Aave, GMX, maybe VeChain, Solana. Some coins are just moving in a triangle, and that very much looks like a possible triangle on this chart. That's, for example, BNB, Stacks, XRP, Litecoin, and they are sort of in an ideal world, they would make another low. So we very undecided market. But of course, there's also a short-term bullish scenario for Bitcoin that I explained to you. We've got a potential 5-wave move up, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can also set the wave 1 actually here with a high B wave. Now you have an A wave, a high B wave, and a C wave. It's also possible, not so important. Important to understand is that, of course, it could push higher because of the daily RSI. Need to be very much prepared for that. I explained to you in the previous videos, it's not so much about predicting if it's going higher or lower. It's about having a plan. I think everybody should have a plan. Someone asked me in the previous comments, what I suggest you do to develop a plan. Well, see, it's just about getting clarity about, what you want, basically developing a investment horizon. What do you want to trade? Do you want to invest? That's basically part of your trading plan. We do offer some templates in the channel membership. But essentially, you have to decide that for yourself, okay? You have to decide it. I mean, as I explained also yesterday, you know, a lot of people are going all in, all out in this market. That will cause you to miss all these moves. I typically recommend, and there are just a few things that I typically recommend when we talk about it in a channel membership, you know, have a bucket, have 3 buckets, have a hodl bucket, have a swing trade bucket, and a very short-term bucket, and then allocate accordingly what you're comfortable with. But in the hodl bucket or even in the swing trade bucket, you have a position. If you want to have a position, get a position. If you don't even have a position, that is a clear recipe for FOMO. If you go all the way up to 30K with this white wave count, yeah, which I think has pretty high probabilities. Again, below 27,480, I think the yellow wave kind of still in control, but obviously it's very balanced at this stage, very balanced. And it's not so much about, okay, I think it will go down, so I will ignore the white wave count. That would be completely naive. No, we want to be aware of these likely scenarios and then do strategic thinking. That's much more important than anything else. Yeah, I try to teach everybody about strategic thinking, how important it is, so-called scenario planning. Be aware of the 2 or 3 likely scenarios and then come up with a plan accordingly. As I said, my strategy, I explained that many times, not going to repeat it in this video. I'm happy either way. If it goes down or up, you want to be in a position like that, okay? And that's not a matter of how much you have invested. It's not a matter about how much you have invested. It's about having a position maybe in those 2 longer term buckets, okay? And then if it goes up, you will not feel the FOMO up here, because if we are up here and you feel the FOMO, you're going to chase. And, you know, and again, it will come from your trading plan if you want to trade this to the upside or not. I think it's reasonable to do it. It's just not a high quality setup, but it's reasonable, for example, to trade the white wave count higher, maybe with a stop below the last swing low, or even here if you want to leave it a bit more space to avoid getting stopped out in a fake out, but then you have to reduce your position size. So, you know, there is not the one right way to trade, which is why I always say, you know, I can't tell anybody to buy or sell. That's ridiculous. That just doesn't work, right? That's what the newbie groups do. Well, they give some stupid signals, buy or sell. That just doesn't work, because you know what's right for your own portfolio, your own mindset, and so on your journey. Everybody's on a different step in this journey, your own capital, okay? So, you know, you have to develop that for yourself, but there is not the one right way to trade. It all depends on your trading plan. But, and that's so important, I read it all the time, you have to have a plan. With every trade, you have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan with a trade, then, yeah, don't be surprised if you lose money. You know, a lot of people who are surprised they lose money in these markets here is when they don't even have a plan. My question is sometimes, do you have a trading plan? Yeah, no. And that's the problem, because they often enter a trade without knowing when to get out. That's the biggest problem. So if the market goes against you, that's not a problem with the analysis. That's not a problem. Nothing manipulated about this market. It might be, but it doesn't matter. It's because you didn't have your plan, okay? And that's the problem. So spend less time on over-analyzing and speculating, and just work on your plan, okay? It is what it is, okay? So yeah, I think generally the situation here is fairly clear. I mean, where the market wants to go, that's only what the market will decide, but we've got very clearly laid out 2 roadmaps, and 27,480 is sort of the divider in between. And yeah, so the roadmap, I think, is clear. Next reliable setup, I think, is after 5 waves up, 3 waves down for a long trade. And I promised you we take a look at the RSI on the daily, why it's bullish. Now again, that is just an indicator, and price action always has to confirm, but it would support the thesis that the white wave count could certainly either lead to a high B wave or even something more bullish. I mean, we are tracking on the higher time frames a bullish scenario, right? So be aware of that. But obviously here on the daily, we've got here the 5 waves up and 3 waves down in all these previous rallies. And these rallies that we had in recent, in this year and also end of last year, they came from a breakout above a trend line on the RSI here. That was in March. Then we had it here in June, okay, and we broke it again just this week. Or no, it was a couple of weeks ago actually. So I posted that on Discord and Telegram. And now what's interesting, and while trend lines are subjective, they are not so objective. Sorry, while trend lines are subjective, they are more objective on the RSI, okay, than on the price chart. So I would pay attention to this. If we get a breakout above this last swing high on the RSI, that could mean a significant breakout, yeah, or a failure. So it is what the price confirms as well. We are at a point where a potential trend change to the upside will happen, or where that trend change is just about to fail. So that's what we call an inflection point or a pivot point. So yeah, pay attention to that. But certainly in the bullish range, it broke above these trend lines. And if it then takes out this high, which is similar to what we had here, right? We had also a previous swing high, and then it broke above it, okay? So that's here as well, okay? We had a swing high, and it just broke above it. So that's going to be interesting. So as I always say, you know, there is not the right way to trade, but if you want to be prepared for the wide wave count, you need to know what's right for your portfolio. If you don't have a position and you're sitting there and you're already feeling the FOMO, it might be worth getting a position, even if it's only small. If you are positioned and you can just lean back and you are happy either way, which is probably the ideal spot to be in, then even better. What I can tell you is if you're here in this market and you watch these videos or you deal with the crypto market, it's the best time to be in, because most people will only get into the crypto market after it broke above 30K, 40K. Yeah, and then we might reach 50, 60, come down for a huge setback and then try again. So I'm just saying, you are at least you're at least dealing with this market, and most people are ignoring it, and they will only come back when they get greedy. But then the market has already moved, okay? So that's the good thing. Okay, that's my update about Bitcoin. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.